Cheers everyone, I'm celebrating today and I have just found out that I made 100 videos or films, whatever you want to call them, on YouTube. So this is my 101st film that I'm uploading. So cheers to that. And I'm doing a fast day today. I'm going to try and go all the way until bed. But normally I finish my fast just before dinner and have a normal dinner. I do it twice a month and it's just really good for clearing out the body and all sorts of things. I'll post a link below about Ekadashi, it's called. It's kind of a yogi fast and it's an Isha yogi thing that I do twice a month. So yeah, I'm actually combining it with a cleansing by doing lime and water all day. No hot drinks with milk in or rice milk or anything like that. But yeah, I have decided that I'm going to do a film that's rather personal. It's about periods, mooncups, contraception, period pains, all that kind of thing. So if you really don't want to hear about it, then turn it off now. I'm looking a bit tired today. I didn't have a great day yesterday because I actually have the first day of my period today, and that's what made me think about it and wanted to do it. So I'm feeling a little bit shaky, but I'm not on any kind of painkillers or anything. So the pain isn't that bad. Little pause. It's a difficult one to know where to start really, because I'm 35, nearly 36, had a lot of years of having a period and lots of ups and downs, having children, getting bipolar, going on lithium, and all that changes everything. So I think I'll start with what my period was like when I was taking the pill. And I did that from, I don't know, quite a young age. Maybe I was probably about 18 with my first boyfriend. I thought, oh, this is probably a good idea. You know, don't want to get pregnant and all that. So my periods were obviously very steady and stable, and they became much lighter. Because before that they had been a bit all over the place. And I did have quite strong period pains as a teenager growing up. I really didn't like taking the pill every single day without fail. I remember there was the odd time when I would forget and I was like, oh no, I might get pregnant now. And in fact, 18, 19, 20, there was twice in my life I've taken the morning after pill. I think that was due to me not taking the pill and thinking, oh, I better do something about this. And I thought, oh, this is rubbish. So anyway, I don't know how long it took for me to stop taking the pill, but, well, actually I do. So I've known my husband for 10 years, and I hadn't been on the pill for a number of years before that. So it could be about 13, 14 years that I haven't been on any kind of contraceptive pill. So that changed things quite a lot. It took a long time for me to kind of find my rhythm and regulate after being on all those hormones. I just had to think back there. Yeah, my periods got heavier again and more painful. And quite regularly, pretty much every month, I would take paracetamol or anti-inflammatory like ibuprofen, which, just so you know, I can't take anymore and I haven't been able to take for 5 years because of being on lithium, and anti-inflammatories and lithium do not mix. So the only painkiller I've been able to take in these 5 years has been paracetamol. That's fine. But sometimes you're like, oh, that's not enough. I wish I could take the other one too, but I couldn't. So yeah. So then it became heavier, it became more painful. And then things changed a lot again when I went vegan. And then again when I went raw vegan. So my change in eating habits, it became much less painful, much less heavy. So I might, in the past, it used to maybe last 5 to 7 days of bleeding. And now I'm down to 1 to 2 days. Or, yeah, 2.5. But the last day is really, 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 really light. And recently and now I've been raw vegan for over 2 years. So now I've got to the stage where my period comes really quickly. So as soon as it starts, it's pretty much full on, full flow. Whereas in the past, it might take 2 to 3 days of it to kind of rev up and get going. And also, my blood was a really dark colour, so sometimes it might be really dark brown, almost black, and it could be like that for quite a few days before it turned red and then got flowing more. I'm not really sure why that is, but I've heard other raw vegans say that that's what's happened with their period. It's kind of bright red straight away. So to me that seems like I'm working better, I'm healthier. Pause! So the last time I took a painkiller was, I think in the camper van this summer. There was 1 month when I felt like I needed to take 1. Not 2, 1. If I take 2, I go really light, really floaty. It's like my feet aren't really touching the ground. And I think it's just because I'm not used to taking painkillers anymore. And they affect me really strongly. So I only take it if I really need to. Yeah, and I remember going around a friend's house that day, and she was like, "Are you alright? You look really pale." And I'd kind of lost all the colour in my face. And yeah, just not great. So I got the blood pumping again through my body, and I felt a bit better. Sorry, I'm feeling a bit... Okay. So 5 years ago-ish in August, when I had my first episode, I don't really know when my periods were or what happened, because I didn't really know where I was on this planet. I was sedated on olanzapine for a very long time. I think about properly for 6 months, maybe a bit more. It took me a while to come off it, to get onto lithium. But because of the episode and everything, the physical sensations in my body were really heightened, and any kind of pain made just living much harder and quite unbearable, and give me panic attacks more easily. I was having panic attacks very frequently at that time. And just to try and lead slightly more of a normal life, I would take my paracetamol during my period. And that would just help things to be a bit kind of smoother at the time. But then it took about 3.5 years for me to properly heal after my first episode. And by then I wasn't needing to take painkillers anymore. And it was quite rare that I had to. So yeah, I suppose about 3 years of me really not taking any painkillers in my life ever, not needing to, because I rarely get headaches anymore unless I've been naughty and eaten lots of salt or refined sugar. Then I might need to. Sorry, this is really terrible. And that's what I should come to next, is that last month something really crazy happened. So for probably 12 years, my period has been in line with the dark or the new moon. Literally 2 days after the new moon, I would get my period. And so I've been all out of sorts for the last month and a half, because last month I was 2 weeks late, and I was like, what is going on? Am I pregnant? I don't think I'm pregnant. What's going on? And the new moon passed. A week went by. I was like, okay, I'm just going to have to be really patient here. 2 weeks went past, and then, of course, the full moon, came along. Full moon came. I was like, right, okay, am I getting my period soon? What's going on? And my hormones did feel a bit all over the place. I was quite moody and up and down. Robin would tell you that. And lo and behold, my period turned up around the full moon. And I was like, okay. So this whole month, normally I know what's going on with the moon really clearly because my body is so in tune with it. And I've been really kind of like, what's happening with the moon? I couldn't really feel it like I normally do, so clearly. So yeah, it's full moon in 2 days, and I've got my period today. So I'm going to have to get used to this. I was told about 6 years ago by a yogi friend of mine at the time that apparently if your periods come on the full moon, and this is when you're not taking any pill or anything, it's because your body is getting ready to get kind of fertile, to have a baby, which takes me on to another point. Because I take lithium, I actually can't have another baby, because lithium is known to create deformities in unborn babies in the womb, and so you can give birth to deformed children. So that was a decision that me and Robin had to make, actually only 3 years ago, because I tried to come off lithium 2 years after my first episode, and it didn't work. I got high again, and that was my attempt to see if I could have another child, because Heidi was still kind of young enough, and it would have been okay for me to have a second child at that point. And I suppose it would still be okay now, but she's now nearly 8, and I'm thinking, bit of a huge gap. But I'm still on lithium, so I still can't have another baby. And I thought about this morning, and when I was living in Henley, in the southeast of England, loads of women or mothers at Heidi's school would say, oh, so you're going to have another child, you know, you're going to have your second. And I was like, no, because it seems to be the norm in that part of the world anyway, to have 2 children. Having one child seems really odd over there. There's very, very few mothers in that part of the world that just have one child. Loads of women have 2 or more. And I didn't know them all that well, that I could just say, oh yeah, I take lithium, I've got bipolar. This is why I can't have another child. So yeah, it took me a good year or 2 for me to come to terms with the fact that I couldn't have another child, because that kind of 2.4 children thing, and having a nice rounded family of 2 kids running around, and Heidi having a brother or sister, was really important to me and to her. It was what we wanted, and it took a lot of persuasion for Heidi. I had to explain to her a lot why she couldn't have a brother or sister. Which is quite sad, because sometimes she does spend a lot of time on her own, but she's just had to learn to be independent and learn to play a lot on her own. And us obviously playing with her too, and having fun times together as a family. But there's a lot of women out there that can't have a second child or even have a first child, so I'm really, really grateful and happy that I could have Heidi and that she's healthy and gonna turn into the most wonderful young lady. So next I will tell you what I do when I have my period. So that takes me back again to when I went to Glastonbury in my early 20s, and on the back of those disgusting toilet doors there was a poster and it said mooncups, and I was like, what's a mooncup? It didn't really explain what it was on the poster, but it made me curious. And then my best friend a few months after that said, oh yeah, I use a mooncup, and she told me all about it and how she'd been getting on with it, and how long it took her to get used to it and all that kind of thing. So ever since my early 20s I've been using a mooncup, so that's a pretty long time. And it's basically a little cup. I'm not going to show you mine because it's not pretty. That's what it looks like. It's that kind of shape. And it basically just fills up with blood. You empty it out into the toilet, clean it off with water, and then you pop it back in. And I've used 2 brands in my lifetime. They last about 10 years. The first one was the only one that I knew of that they were selling in England, and I could buy it in Boots. Not the first time round, I bought it online. They weren't in Boots yet. And it's really cool on their website. They have this running ticker going of all the tampons they've saved in the whole of, I don't know, them selling mooncups, and how many tampons are basically not being used because ladies are using mooncups instead. So yeah, from an ecological point of view, it's fantastic. And I must have saved hundreds, if not thousands of pounds. Yeah, probably thousands of pounds on tampons, sanitary towels, all that stuff that you just chuck in the bin and put into landfill. So the mooncup symbol looks like this. And that was my first little bag. Yeah, so the reason why I bought 2 mooncups was one before I had Heidi, and then you get a slightly bigger one for when you've given birth, which I probably didn't actually need to buy because I had cesarean, and, you know, she didn't come out my vagina, so I don't think it would have kind of affected that part of me particularly. But anyway, I used a bigger one and it was fine. So the brand I have now has a lovely shiny little blue. I bought this this summer actually, before coming away. This is the brand name, Lunette, and it's actually a Finnish company, and I like it a bit better actually because it's the same material. It's made of silicone, but you have to do this to it. So you have to fold it up, and when you fold it, because this material is a tiny bit thinner, it's easier to fold and manipulate and get it inside and pull it out. And also, let me see if I can show you, that bit there is not a hollow tube. It's actually slightly flattened and it's got these ridges on it, so it's much easier to kind of pinch it and pull it out. And also the other one, the mooncup, because it was kind of a slightly deep tube, it was harder to clean up there, so that's why I prefer this. These holes, there's less of them and slightly bigger, so they clean better as well around the top to help with so it releases the suction. Yeah, and they've got umpteen different colours, so I chose a nice blue colour, a deep blue, but you can get them in all sorts, so that's nice. The other thing I've changed recently is on like tonight, for example, I'll wear one of these because it's my heaviest flow day / night, and then tomorrow it'll be much lighter, and so I bought these. This was online. It's called feminine wear, and this is a fabric, bamboo and cotton, like a sanitary towel, I suppose, and inside there's a kind of a layer that's waterproof, which you can actually feel it when you wash it. But then the inside is really absorbent, and the outside is just a pretty fabric. And I bought 3 so that one's quite kind of a bit thicker, but still really comfortable because the bamboo is really soft. And then this one I folded it up, but you can see the fabric is 100% cotton, that one, and it still has the same layer that's waterproof in the middle, but it's a much smaller, it's not as long, and it's still got, probably the wings are a bit smaller. It's got 2 little poppers, depending on the size of your knickers, darling. So now I don't need to throw anything into landfill because of my periods. Wicked, eh? Wicked. Wicked. Is there anything else I need to say? I'm going to ponder and have a think. Sorry guys, this is a really long film. But the last thing I wanted to say was that the yoga I do, about 99% of the time, because there's the odd day that I miss out, but most days I do it, and I do Surya Kriya and Shambhavi Mahamudra and various other things depending on the day, and basically that kind of yoga that I do aligns me with the sun and the moon and the cosmos generally, the rotations of everything, and I think that's what's also really helped with my period